How many times have you heard this line? Eat more vegetables. It's good for your heart, brain, and longevity. But what if I told you, those very vegetables, if eaten the wrong way, could trigger a stroke while you sleep? Picture an ordinary evening. You've just had a light dinner, steamed veggies, a fresh salad, and a glass of detox water. Before bed, you even read a book to your grandchild. Everything feels peaceful. Until the next morning, you wake up unable to lift your arm. Your mouth droops, and the words just won't come out. As a brain doctor, I've seen this scenario way too often. These aren't reckless people. They eat clean. They exercise regularly. But they still suffer a sudden stroke, all because of one food that seemed healthy, but interacted poorly with their medication or hit too hard at the wrong time. Aging changes everything. After 60, your body works differently. How it processes salt, oils, vitamins, even how blood flows through your brain while you sleep. And because of these changes, 5 everyday vegetables could quietly turn into brain-damaging threats if you don't use them the right way. Let's start with the first one, a so-called superfood that might cancel out your meds and put you at serious stroke risk overnight. Kale has long been praised as one of the healthiest vegetables out there. It shows up on every superfood list, from morning detox smoothies to dinner salads, and nutritionists can't stop recommending it. And for older adults, it seems like the perfect choice, high in fiber, packed with vitamins, and sugar-free. But there's one thing: kale is especially rich in something often overlooked: vitamin K. In younger people, vitamin K helps with blood clotting and protects tiny blood vessels. But after age 60, when many people are prescribed blood thinners like warfarin, apixaban, or even low-dose aspirin, vitamin K can quietly become a dangerous rival. Those medications are designed to thin your blood and prevent clots from reaching the brain. But when you suddenly load up on kale, your vitamin K levels spike, and that can reduce the effect of your meds. Your blood begins to clot faster again. And you won't even feel it happening. I still remember Mr. Robert, age 72, a retired schoolteacher. Very meticulous, lived a healthy life. He avoided fried foods, walked every morning, and ate kale salad almost every day. When his cardiologist prescribed a new blood thinner, he didn't change anything. He thought his diet was already perfect. 2 weeks later, he was rushed to the ER. Slurred speech, numbness down one side of his body, a minor stroke. There were no new underlying conditions, but when we reviewed his diet and prescriptions, the truth came out. Nightly kale salads plus blood thinners, a silent storm, just a few days of build-up. And one small clot had blocked a vessel in his brain. Kale isn't poison, but if you're taking any kind of blood-thinning medication, kale is no longer just a vegetable. It should be treated like medicine. Eat in controlled portions. Stick to consistent timing. Avoid late evening meals. Most importantly, tell your doctor if you increase your intake. You might feel fine after 1 or 2 meals, but a few days of extra healthy eating, and your meds won't be strong enough to protect you in your sleep. You might wake up with a headache, or not wake up at all. So if you're still tossing a handful of kale into your evening salad, pause. Take a look at your prescription. Think about your age, and ask yourself one simple question. Is this helping me or quietly harming me? Kale is still a good food, but after 60, good doesn't always mean safe. And when it comes to your brain, One small mistake is all it takes to change everything. Ever since childhood, you probably remember Popeye the sailor who ate spinach and instantly became strong. And honestly, that wasn't far from the truth. Spinach is rich in iron, magnesium, and antioxidants. It's undeniably a nutrient powerhouse. But here's the thing. Too much of anything, especially at the wrong time, can quietly turn into a threat. Especially when your body isn't what it was 30 years ago. And it's working hard with medications to manage your blood pressure, memory, and brain circulation. The problem with spinach isn't just one thing. It's two risky compounds packed into the same leaf, vitamin K and oxalates. On one hand, like kale, spinach is high in vitamin K, which can interfere with blood thinners. You might not notice anything if you just eat a little at dinner, but if you're blending green smoothies in the morning, adding spinach to your lunch omelette, and steaming more for dinner, you're flooding your system with 304 times more vitamin K than your meds can handle. The result? Your blood starts clotting faster, and your brain is left exposed. On the other hand, spinach contains oxalates natural compounds that can form tiny crystals in your kidneys, block calcium absorption, and trigger silent inflammation in blood vessels. If your arteries are already stiff, your blood pressure is high, or you're on diuretics. Oxalates are like throwing fuel on a fire. I remember Grace, a 76-year-old patient. She lived alone, had a great sense of humor, and was deeply committed to her health. Every morning, she made herself a green smoothie with spinach, banana, apple, and almond milk. She called it her secret longevity potion. But then things started to feel off. Lightheadedness every time she stood up, forgetting stories she had just told the day before. And one day, she slipped and fell in the bathroom for no clear reason. Her tests showed unstable blood pressure, signs of increased blood clotting, and low-grade inflammation in her micro-vessels. That seemingly healthy smoothie was quietly dismantling her brain's defenses. I didn't tell her to quit spinach. I just asked her to cook it before eating, limit it to 2 to 3 times per week, and avoid pairing it with blood thinners at night. 1 month later, her memory was sharper, the dizziness was gone, and no more falls. Spinach can still be part of a healthy diet, but only if you use it wisely. Cook it to reduce oxalates. Eat it at lunch or early dinner, never after 7 p.m. Skip daily green smoothies if you're on any medication that affects blood. You might not notice the effects right away, but if you keep repeating the same pattern day after day, your body will respond with a fall, a lapse in memory. Or worse, a stroke in the middle of the night. Just remember, not everything natural is automatically safe, and not every vegetable is friendly to a brain that's aging day by day. For many older adults, bamboo shoots feel like the perfect food. Low fat, light, easy to digest, and with that special Asian flair that feels clean and wholesome. Stir-fried with veggies, tossed into soup, or simmered with lean meat, it all looks simple, healthy, and gentle on the stomach. But that clean, innocent appearance can hide a very real threat to your brain, especially if you don't fully understand how to prepare them. Most people don't realize this. Both fresh and canned bamboo shoots can contain cyanogenic glycosides, natural compounds that can turn into cyanide in the body if not cooked properly. Yes, cyanide. That's not a word to take lightly. In young, healthy individuals, the liver and kidneys can usually detox small amounts of these compounds, But after age 60, when your detox systems slow down, your blood vessels get weaker, and your kidneys may already be showing early signs of decline. Even low levels of these toxins can slowly damage the brain. I once treated Mr. Thompson, age 74, a proud home cook and retired veteran. He had recently started adding bamboo shoots to his daily soup. "It's clean, low-fat, and easy to make," he told me. But after a few weeks, he began feeling foggy. His memory would flicker. He felt unusually tired and started napping longer during the day. His family thought it was vertigo, or just aging. But his blood pressure was a bit high, oxygen saturation was slightly low, and imaging scans showed nothing obvious. It wasn't until we reviewed his meals that the picture came together. He'd been eating bamboo shoots every day sometimes, from canned sources that weren't rinsed properly, sometimes lightly boiled, but never thoroughly cooked, and his body already on blood pressure medication and managing mild kidney disease couldn't keep up with the steady build-up of natural toxins. The brain, especially sensitive to low oxygen and microinflammation, started to suffer. Here's what's truly frightening. These effects don't come suddenly. You won't feel dizzy, you won't feel pain. But day after day, low-grade inflammation, oxygen shortages, and circulation issues creep in. Silently. Then one morning, you forget what you were about to say. One night you lose your balance on the way to the bathroom. For seniors on multiple medications, especially for blood pressure, blood thinning, or kidney issues, bamboo shoots are no longer an innocent side dish. Unless they are boiled thoroughly, rinsed multiple times, and consumed in moderation, they can become a stealth attacker on your brain from the dinner plate. I often tell my patients, if you love bamboo shoots, eat a small amount every other day, and only after they've been well cooked. But if you're on more than 2 medications a day, consider cutting them out completely. Because the risk isn't in one bite of bamboo today. It's in eating them every day, while telling yourself, it's just a little, it can't hurt. But every just a little adds up, and step by step, it could be quietly leading you toward a stroke you never saw coming. With its soft, velvety texture after roasting, natural sweetness, and frequent appearances in Mediterranean cuisine, eggplant often feels like the perfect heart-friendly vegetable. Many older adults even consider it a clean food, low in calories, easy to pair with olive oil, and naturally satisfying. But there's one thing people rarely notice. Eggplant is the #1 oil sponge in the vegetable world. When you fry, sauté, or roast it with oil, it absorbs fat into every fiber of its tender flesh, without you even realizing it. Each small portion can soak up 2 to 3 times more oil than you think. And if you eat it this way 4 to 5 times a week, your brain may slowly begin to pay the price. Excess saturated fat, especially when it builds up quietly, raises LDL cholesterol, narrows small blood vessels, and reduces blood flow to the brain. Worse yet, eggplant belongs to the nightshade family, along with tomatoes, potatoes, and peppers. These contain solanine, a compound that can trigger neurological inflammation in people who are sensitive or who already have underlying issues like arthritis, autoimmune conditions, or fragile blood vessels. I still remember Joan, age 69, a retired nurse, healthy and semi-vegetarian. She practiced yoga, walked daily, never smoked, and proudly followed a Mediterranean-style diet. But recently, she noticed her hands trembling slightly when pouring coffee. She started forgetting whether she'd turned off the stove. Sometimes she'd repeat the same story within one conversation. Her labs were mostly normal. Blood pressure was fine. Brain scans didn't show anything alarming. But when we reviewed her diet, one habit stood out. She was eating olive oil, roasted eggplant, 5 days a week, her favorite dish. Delicious and easy on the stomach. Her inflammation markers were higher than ideal. Early signs of microvascular ischemia were starting to appear, damage to tiny brain vessels that slowly cuts off oxygen to brain tissue. If left unchecked, it can lead to vascular dementia or mini-strokes. The scary part, she didn't see anything wrong with her diet. After all, eggplant isn't greasy. It's not salty. Right? But the mistake wasn't in the food, it was in the cooking method, the frequency, and the stage of life. At age 60 plus, your brain can no longer handle hidden fats and repeated low-grade inflammation the way it used to. Eggplant isn't toxic, but it's not neutral either. And when eaten too often, especially after 6 p.m., cooked in oil, and paired with an aging body struggling with blood pressure or memory, it becomes a quiet risk. My advice is simple. If you love eggplant, keep it in your meals once or twice a week. Steam it or dry, roast it without oil. Eat it at lunch or early afternoon. Avoid it completely during flare-ups or when you're mentally fatigued. Don't let a vegetable that seems healthy become the final drop that overflows your memory's cup. Pickled mustard greens, kimchi, sour cabbage, preserved radish. They're more than just food, they're memories. That tangy, salty bite brings back the warmth of home-cooked meals, the old ceramic jar in the kitchen corner, the days before refrigerators, when your mum or grandma made pickles by hand. For many older adults, these dishes are staples on the dinner table. They help with digestion, they say. But what they often don't realize is this: those familiar little bites may quietly trigger a stroke in the middle of the night. The reason is simple: extremely high sodium levels. Just a small serving, 2 or 3 pieces of pickled vegetables, can pack 600 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. And for anyone over 60, especially those on blood pressure meds or diuretics, that's enough to spike blood pressure in just a few hours. The danger lies in the timing. Many people eat pickled vegetables at dinner, then go to sleep right when blood pressure naturally fluctuates during the night. A sudden spike, fragile blood, vessels a silent stroke while you're asleep. But that's not the whole story. Commercially pickled vegetables, especially those in jars or packages from the store, often contain nitrites, sulfites, and preservatives. Even in small amounts, these compounds increase oxidative stress, trigger low-grade, long-term vascular inflammation, and weaken your blood vessel walls, making them more brittle and more likely to burst or clog. I once treated Mr. Carl, age 73, a cheerful veteran living with his wife and 5 grandkids. Every night he'd eat a small bowl of pickled greens with rice. "Helps me digest," he'd say. But then he started getting morning headaches, ringing in his ears, and pressure behind his forehead, which he thought was just poor sleep. Until one morning, he collapsed in the garage. He couldn't speak. His vision blurred. His right arm went limp. It was a mild stroke, just enough to paralyze half his body and force him into 2 months of physical therapy to walk again. When I asked about his diet, his wife hesitated and said, "We only have a little pickled greens each night, doctor. It's light, isn't it?" But the truth wasn't light at all. His total daily sodium intake from pickled vegetables alone was more than double the recommended limit for seniors. And when combined with blood pressure medication, weak vessels, and low activity levels, it was a recipe for disaster in the dead of night. I'm not saying you have to give up this nostalgic dish completely, but you must change how you see it. Pickled vegetables should not be a daily side. They're a special treat for rare occasions only. And if you have high blood pressure, kidney disease, or take heart medications, consider cutting them out entirely, because the price you might pay isn't just a headache. It's your ability to get out of bed in the morning. It's your voice. It's your memory of your grandchild's name, which could vanish after what seemed like just another peaceful night. I understand, after hearing about 5 common vegetables that might actually do harm, you may feel confused, even a little discouraged. You thought you were doing everything right, starting your mornings with green smoothies, adding kale to your salad, roasting eggplant instead of eating meat, including a bit of pickles to brighten the meal. But the truth is, your body after 60 doesn't function like it did in your 40s or 50s. Your adrenal glands respond differently. Your blood vessels are thinner. Your detox systems are slower. And what once was a superfood can quietly become a burden on your brain, heart, and memory. But don't give up, because there is still good news, and it lies in the simple, humble vegetables, not flashy, not trendy, but deeply protective for the aging brain. Let me tell you about Linda, a 68-year-old retired librarian living in a quiet town. After her sister had a stroke, Linda became concerned about her own health. She was very disciplined, drinking green smoothies, eating salad daily, roasting colorful vegetables. Yet something still felt off. Her blood pressure crept up. Her memory began missing little details in the morning. Her hands and feet felt oddly numb. When I reviewed her diet, I didn't tell her to eat less. I simply helped her shift. Instead of chasing the anti-aging superfoods all over social media, I brought her back to the basics foods that work with aging blood vessels, not against them. Here's what we added. Steamed carrots, the first thing I encouraged her to eat at lunch. Carrots are rich in beta-carotene, an antioxidant that protects delicate blood vessels in the brain. They're gentle on digestion and don't raise blood pressure after meals. Boiled sweet potatoes. Warm, comforting, and loaded with potassium and soluble fiber. Potassium naturally balances out excess sodium, gently lowering blood pressure. 2 to 3 times per week, boiled or steamed. At lunch, that's enough to make a difference. Cucumber, with the peel. One of the lowest sodium, highest water vegetables around, cucumber helps cleanse the blood, cool the liver, and improve blood viscosity, great for brain circulation. Best eaten in the morning or early afternoon. Keep the peel for added fiber. Cooked green beans, often overlooked, but very senior-friendly. They contain folate and magnesium, 2 essentials for healthy nerve function. And importantly, they're low in vitamin K and oxalates, safe for anyone on blood thinners. Boiled or steamed zucchini. A soft, low-calorie, water-rich veggie that helps balance electrolytes. Perfect for those on blood pressure meds. It relieves bloating, soothes digestion, and helps prevent fluid buildup in the brain and body. Just 2 months into this shift, Linda told me she felt more alert, slept more deeply, no longer woke up with tingling feet, and her doctor had begun reducing her blood pressure meds. She smiled and said, "Doc, This way of eating isn't exactly trendy, but my brain definitely feels clearer. I simply nodded. That's the power of simplicity. Because after 60, you don't need a perfect diet. You need a suitable one. And these humble vegetables, though quiet, don't clash with your medications, don't inflame your system, and don't put extra pressure on your blood vessels. They do just one thing. They nourish your brain gently, steadily, and with love. If you've stayed with me this far, I believe you're not just watching a health video. You're doing something far more important. You're reflecting on your own habits through the eyes of someone who understands that the body after 60 is no longer the same. You may have once believed eating more vegetables is always good. A little pickled food at dinner helps digestion. A morning green smoothie is the secret to longevity. And I don't blame you, because no one ever taught us that aging requires change. Kale, spinach, bamboo shoots, eggplant, or pickles. They're not the enemy. The real danger is the belief that a little every day won't hurt, while your body is quietly telling a different story. A little vitamin K can block the effects of your blood thinners. A little salt can spike your nighttime blood pressure. A little oil soaked into veggies can slowly turn into unhealthy fat in your blood. And all those little things, when repeated daily, become the soft knock of a stroke on your door. I've seen so many patients like Robert, Grace, Carl, and Linda. They came to me confused, tired, wondering why their bodies had turned against them. But once they understood, they changed, and just weeks later, they regained their clarity, their confidence, and their control. Now it's your turn. Look at your plate tonight, and remember, eating healthy isn't just about choosing the right foods. It's about choosing the right timing, the right amount, and what's right for your body now, not 20 years ago. Protecting your brain doesn't start in a doctor's office. It starts at the dinner table. In those ordinary meals you've had 1,000 times, and every time you place a food on your plate, you are making a choice to move toward clarity or drift silently toward the fog of a stroke. You have the power to choose, starting today. If you found this video helpful, drop a 1 in the comments below. If you still have questions, don't hesitate to ask. I'm always here, walking this journey with you. And if you know someone who's eating these same familiar foods every day, share this video with them. You could be helping them preserve their memory, their voice, or even their life. I'll see you in the next video, as we continue listening to our bodies and learning to live clearly, wisely, and well.